Well, here we are then. Well. I don't...
What?
We are now a few hours on from that last bit of recording we did. We've watched tonight's Coronation Street. I have to say it wasn't as bad. I don't think it could have got any worse. I thought it was a fine, standard, alright episode tonight. But and it has raised my score in my head for the week.
Oh, because you got challenged, didn't you?
I have been challenged to can I get this in the ones. I'm not revealing anything yet.
Then.
But I'm erring between two scores at the moment, I tell you that.
Wow. See, I've
that week, Gemma, what a load of cobblers that was.
Cobblers?
Keeping it Coronation Street themed here. Blimey, I got mad. Now, I think people are kind of looking forward to me being mad on the podcast today, because I've made my feelings about this week relatively clear on social media this week.
All week long.
But equally, I hate it when there's a week that I don't really like when I've got a special guest on the podcast as well. Because
that's why we have a separate episode.
That's why it's separate. That's a positive, that. And this may be going to be less so. But we only moan because we care and because we love it. And also because sometimes Coronation Street is absolute awful rubbish. I just hated an awful lot of this week. Some of it was bad. Some of it, good, luckily for it, I guess, was it kind of strayed into the so bad it's good territory. I can certainly think of bits like that, and then there are other bits that I was just fairly ambivalent about. But yeah, I think if what happened on Monday had happened on tonight's episode, I would have been too fuming to speak. To be fair, quite frank.
If today's happened on Monday?
If what happened on Monday's episode happened today.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because I've kind of chilled a little bit since then.
It feels like you... I said to you, you kept talking to me about it. I kept saying, save it for the podcast. Don't tell me now. Stop talking to me about it. Save your passion for the
last time that Coronation Street really, really riled me up like this was when Dennis Tanner drove off with Gloria.
Never forget it.
He abandoned Rita, left her in the dust, went swanning off into the sunset.
Awful behaviour.
And I was so mad because I really like Dennis Tanner, and then Coronation Street writers made him unfaithful.
Yeah,
I can't,
true.
and that is what happened this week.
Yeah, this is.
And
funny.
Although I was kind of saw it coming,
no words for me.
To actually, go on, you speak.
No, carry on.
No, to actually see it happen, it's just it caught me off guard. Quite frankly, I didn't think it had happened quite so hard and fast as that.
La, that's what she said.
Oh man, I'm fuming about it. We've seen character assassinations in Coronation Street in the past. We got a Flippin' Bobbins award dedicated to the fact. I don't know how Jenny Bradley, Connor, well, will she still be Connor by then? Who knows? I don't know how she can avoid getting the Bobbins for character assassination this year, because they have thrown her right underneath the Weatherfield Wayfarer this week. And yes, they've tried to, show that she's regretful and everything.
Oh, like we said before, just because you're sorry doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yes, Sharon, we're talking about you as well there. Oh,
and Tyrone.
I'm so sad and mad and gutted and just so annoyed that they've done this to Jenny, one of my favourite characters, and Jenny and Johnny, one of my favourite couples, and with bloody Uncle Ronnie as well.
Uncle Ronnie,
he makes my skin crawl. That schmoozing scene.
Oh no!
Where I can't remember what he was saying now. He was giving her the come to bed eyes, and he was just so cheesy. I mean, at least Dev was comedy cheesy. He was like, Dev is like intentionally comedy.
I think, can I just
cheesemeister, but Ronnie's like, who? I think maybe some people find that sort of thing.
Let me interject to you and tell you that you're not the target audience
for Uncle Ronnie's bulging pectorals.
No,
not. Clearly not. But then I didn't think Jenny was either. Maybe I will end up with Uncle Ronnie in bed next week, because he's obviously so irresistible that Jenny can't keep her hands off him, despite the fact that her husband is due back from prison imminently.
Surprise! I'm back from prison.
So mad.
You managed to manifest it. Well done. See, all this week I have been mentally protecting myself by not really watching the show. I don't really know what happened.
Is this your confession, is it?
Well, listen, I said earlier on the Facebook group, I watched the whole week and I saw nothing.
That's because you probably had your iPad held between you.
Because it was boring. Am I not allowed to disengage from something that I find a bit boring?
Doing a podcast on it. No, you're right.
That's true.
But there were...
I'm not the only person who didn't follow a lot of what happened this week because of how boring it was. And I totally reserve the right to, even if I am doing a podcast about something, to find something boring and not pay full attention. Well, sometimes you have to protect your brain.
It's going to be quite funny listening to you synopsising a couple of these stories then. You go, oh, did that happen?
It's not like this would be the first time I've done that.
I know. Yeah, I can tell. You sit there on your iPad and I'm like that.
You were saying, what are you doing?
What are you doing on your iPad, Gemma? Who are you talking to? What did that person just say?
I don't know.
No, okay, I'll just rewind it to find out what that person said because I was taking my notes. And I don't want to, and like occasionally, and I've learnt not to do this anymore, I've taken the iPad off Gemma's lap when she's been fully disengaged in Coronation Street. And I live to regret that. So now I'm just sitting there thinking, how much does Gemma know what's going on? Well, you certainly know what went on with Jenny and Ronnie this week.
Yeah, because I just heard you say.
Well, you saw it happen.
That was a joke. That was a joke. My God, calm down.
And Sharon.
A small child.
All the hijinks that Sharon got up to this week.
I saw a small child get kidnapped. Actually, I didn't. I saw a small child kidnap himself and then sing a sad song.
Underneath some very fast-moving clouds at the end of the episode because it's all arty.
I wasn't sure whether we were watching Disney Plus or not, because that seems like a sort of Disney Channel movie where he gets kidnapped and then sort of runs away with a pack of stray dogs. Sam
Online spin-off, yes please. Well, shall we just get it all over with and see what happened this week then? Let's talk about this hot mess in detail and see if we can find anything laudable about it.
I'm going to give this 5 out of 5 because as far as I know, it was great. And also, the other thing is, I've had to listen to you ranting all week. And if you thought that was funny, listening to Michael just saying that, imagine if that was going on for 5 days and you couldn't escape.
Gemma, I have not been going on. It's been in the immediate aftermath of the episodes, and I've gone and taken out my anger on the washing up afterwards.
Look, yeah, okay, I was only really joking. Actually, it's quite funny. This is why it's difficult for me when Coronation Street is really bad, because I actually find it quite funny how mad you get about it, and it kind of makes me enjoy it more.
No, I'm not usually this mad.
No, I know, but
usually when Coronation Street's bad, I'm just like, at least I feel passionate about it this week.
But that's why whenever I think of Dennis Tanner driving off in his car, it just makes me laugh because of how mad it made
because that was on a Friday, wasn't it? And we recorded a podcast straight up. Was that the last scene of the episode or something?
Take pleasure in your spouse's pain. What's the point of getting married?
Oh, God.
Right, okay, so...
And it came after such 2 good weeks as well.
Right, this is what I think happened.
That's worse.
Like, they spent weeks and months, like, meticulously plotting this 2 weeks of really excellent Coronation Street, where loads of, like, really good characterisations, great plot lines, everything came together perfectly.
Brilliant performances.
Fantastic performances. And then they went, should we talk about what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks? And I'm like, look, I'm really tired. We've done good work here. Let's come back to it later. And then when they came to the scripts, they were like, oh, crap, quick. Quick, what should we write?
But the problem with them, they're already behind, aren't they?
Yeah, but on Friday, today's episode, literally, the storyline between Jenny and Johnny, both episodes, well, it was one long episode, wasn't it? Was basically Johnny saying, he must have said this about 3 times. I know what's really going on around here, Jenny. He literally said that about 3 times. She's like, what do you mean?
And Daisy's there going, oh,
I want to tell him so bad.
She's like, I know something, John. There he is.
Yes. And he's like,
Ronnie's such a lovely guy, isn't he, Jenny? Oh, you and Johnny got so much in common.
All right, stop. Okay, let's talk about what actually happened.
Right, so
are you going to talk? I want you to talk about the Jenny and Johnny stuff, because I couldn't even
think of a decent storyline title for this. I got the Jenny, Ronnie, Johnny jam. It kind of rolls off the tongue. They're in a bit of a jam at the moment, aren't they? I was going to be the Jenny, Ronnie, Johnny jamboree, but then that sounds far too fun for it. We did have some more of the Sharon confidential information this week. There was Gail, the one that couldn't keep her lips sealed in tonight's episode. I was going to call this like Game Sharon as well, like, you know, game sharing on Xbox, because there was a little bit of gaming on Wednesday, and that was the bit that was so bad it was good. I kind of appreciated just how off the mark and terrible that was, actually. So we
also points for Sharon for perfectly capturing a person of a certain age who is technologically confused, and how they press buttons.
Yes.
Like, they press buttons with their whole physical being. You don't have to use your shoulders to push the button in, but that's what she was doing. And you also don't need to hold it up to your face.
I know. Oh gosh, she did. She had it to her face,
like the most stereotypical, like,
pushing the button like she was trying to put her finger through the controller. Yeah. The controller looked like something between a pocket calculator and a Nokia N-Gage. I don't know what that was that Aadi was using to control it. Simon had a perfectly normal Xbox controller to control his machine. He wasn't playing Xbox though, was he? No, whatever that was. But yeah, Aadi's controller, I don't know where they got that from.
I think those two boys were fleeced on some kind of Kickstarter campaign for, we're going to create the latest new games console, it's going to be amazing. And then they download it, and what have they got? Jungle Universe.
I will tell you, we're all over the place today. I will tell you exactly what Aadi had on his controller, on his console, because, right, which of these games is tickles your fancy? Slowdown 5, American Rally 2, Jungle Universe, which, by the way, that was the kind of the odd one out, didn't it? Yeah, it was just like a bored lion.
It's like a Pokemon Snap rip-off where you just go around taking photos of lions.
Yeah, maybe that's Asher's game. Fight the fear, play fair or die, retain the fear. Retain the Fear 2.
What amazing selection of games there.
They just ran out of ideas there. Fight the Fear, Retain the Fear 2. It's like, whatever, nobody's going to pause this and have a look at it. Coronation Street.
You don't understand how obsessive we are about getting mad about things.
What's Play Fair or Die?
Play Fair or Die sounds like one of those really dodgy Netflix movies that was made in like 2001 and nobody has ever heard of it.
Oh gosh, it was awful. The other thing
you've written that it's American Rally too, but it could have been American Wally.
Oh yeah, we didn't see the first letter. I guess that.
American Sally too.
Oh, American Sally, yeah.
Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, what you were saying about her using the controller as well. Not only that, she also has to comment on everything that she's doing. Like when she was writing that message to Simon, she had to say it out loud.
Yeah, but that's for people that can't read.
Simon, Kelly's been killed. Oh, OMG.
Kelly?
Not Kelly. What's his name? Seb.
Okay, go and get
those. How'd you delete a letter on this thing?
Oh, back.
Oh, anyway, look, we're all over the place today. I'm just trying to pretend this whole story didn't happen with Jenny and Johnny, but let's get into talk about that.
Have we gone through all the... We haven't, have we?
We have not. Okay, so we got the Jenny, Ronnie, Johnny Jam. We got Sharon confidential information. We had a little bit of Retha Franklin, Tully sales and marketing. Wow, I'm glad to see that back again. Rutting ties and make a mountain out of a troll hill. So they really did, they were scraping the bottom of the barrel for some of their stories for this week.
No, I think they looked at some of these stories and they went, people are going to hate this. Should we just shove them all together in a week?
I can think of no other explanation for how this...
Some of these stories should be flushed down the toilet.
Some of them are just like, why is this still going? Why is Sean's story still going? Why is that still circling the drain?
Why is Cathy still living in a house
with
two
been
women
there 2 months
who literally hate her? It's like Golden Girls turned into Mean Girls, like geriatric Mean Girls.
Yeah, and then Rutting Ties, which is like, oh,
hate
man.
It. And also, I still don't understand. I didn't understand what was Alina saying about what all those things meant.
I don't know.
I know everyone knows YOLO, but what the hell were the other one? Why does Trill sound like true?
I don't know. We're not Gen Z, Gemma. I think you have to be.
Apparently there's been a load of discussion online about what our generation is called, and now we're called geriatric millennials now.
Oh, lovely. Oh, nice. Right, come on. Right, what's been going on in the Rovers this week? Well, Ed has returned back from seeing Aadi and Auntie Corona. He thinks his camper van's been stolen because it's not outside the house like it normally is. But Ronnie says, it's fine, Michael, he says, because Ed's gone off. I've actually taken it to some camper van specialist to get it pimped up. What could go wrong?
This guy is
Ed's gonna love it.
The Alan Titchmarsh of renovating camper vans.
Yeah, he's the person to go to if you want it renovated or found.
Or stolen.
Both at the same time. Ronnie invites Jenny to go to the van with him because they've been getting a bit close recently. Daisy is somewhat sultry and suspicious and, what's going on here then about this?
You can't be sultry about something. That's how you look, not what you are.
She was looking sultry.
Yeah, she looks sultry. That's her default expression.
Trout pout.
No, she does not have a trout pout, Michael.
I don't know what that means either.
It means that you've got a fake...
Oh, she's been Ivy Brennan'd. No, she hasn't.
She hasn't been Ivy Brennan'd as far as we know.
Right,
You're throwing allegations.
Jenny is going to go camper vanning with Uncle Ronnie, but instead she goes to prison first because she goes to visit Johnny. She seems to think that Johnny's going to be out of prison in a week. I don't know, has he lied to her or something? Or because he's
that's weird because he would surely know.
Yeah, but
that's the least of our problems.
Yeah, so at prison, Johnny says, Ronnie, is he still living there? What's going on there? How's things going? And she's very quick to change the subject because she's clearly falling for him and his charms or something. Jenny says, why don't we have a little holiday when you get out of prison? He's just like, I just want to go back to a normal life, actually.
Also, one of the best things about this was... that Johnny's got long hair now.
He does, yes.
It's quite good.
Yes, he's got rid of his face hair. And he's
put it on his head.
Hair. Yeah.
Not many a man can have long hair as an older gent, so hats off to you. Actually, you don't need to wear a hat because you've got lovely hair.
He looks like he should be in the Rolling Stones or something.
Maybe he is holding... it's in tribute to Seb and his waterfall of gravy.
Oh, yes, yeah, it might be.
Yeah, I'll never forget that.
I know. As you bring it up on a weekly basis.
I often like to refer to that.
Yeah, well done the writer who did that.
Yeah,
anyway, they've gone to get this camper van, pick up the camper van. It looks great. And Jenny's inside, and then, what do you know, Ed shows up. Very coincidentally at the exact same time because
it's
like
I
said it is a coincidence.
So it is because he's gone to the guy who renovates camper vans to say, has anyone nicked my camper van and brought it to you to get renovated?
No, I thought that was...
sense to me. That makes that makes sense. The only thing you can complain about is that they were there at the same time.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm moaning about, the fact that they just both happened to be there at the same time. Now Jenny hides to make herself look a little bit suspicious. I don't know why she particularly hid. Why she couldn't have just said, I just came along with Ronnie, but never mind. She ducks down inside the van, and Ed's not happy with what Ronnie's done because obviously doing this up was supposed to be a family renovation project together, which you kind of ruined, Ronnie. And then Jenny sneezes and gives herself away. Ed thinks that you're using my van as a place for a bunk up with a local landlady. And she's like, no, I've just come to see... I've just been to see my husband, actually, at the prison. I just wanted to have a look at the van. So, yeah. At that point, I was thinking, okay, maybe that's all it is. Maybe it's going to be about,
Denial.
No, I thought people are going to suspect that she's having it off with Ronnie. But actually, she's not because Jenny is better than that. She never would. You would never be unfaithful to lovely Johnny.
Can you just admit, though, that Ronnie is a good-looking bloke?
No,
you can't.
I don't ask me. I don't know about these things.
Look, Michael, I'm a heterosexual woman, and I can say Daisy is a hot fox.
He's got a lovely floppy hat.
He doesn't. He's got like a beret.
Yeah, it's floppy, isn't it? Floppy
beret.
He's
got like a stiff brim.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think we need to get into his accessories, do we?
Anyway, go back to the Rovers, and this is where Ronnie does his utterly cringy, creepy, horrible turning on the chart. He has a bit of a schmooze, a bit of a flirt. Like, Jenny's looking all a quiver at this, and I'm like, no, Jenny, don't do this. He is like Dev, but without the comedy. I just think
he's not cringy or gross. You're just putting that onto him because you don't like the situation.
No, I thought he was being utterly cheesy about it.
Well, look. This explains why you've only ever had one girlfriend in your life. You're not very good at flirting.
Oh my gosh. And
poor Gemma, everybody. Poor Gemma.
To cut a long story short, because it doesn't take very long, They've shagged, everybody. Congratulations, Jenny. I'm so pleased for you. They come down the stairs. Ronnie's coming down his stairs, doing his shirt up, and that led into a funny discussion on our Facebook group this week about whoever comes down the stairs doing their shirt up. Don't you just get dressed upstairs? I wouldn't know because we don't have stairs in this house.
No, we know we're permanently undressed in this house.
That made me so mad. So mad.
Look, this is what I mean. You're pretending like you haven't been like this a week.
Jenny is mortified with herself. She says, it can't happen again. You might be a free agent, Ronnie, but I'm not. I'm married.
I'm married, everybody.
Ronnie is just looking so bloody pleased and chuffed and smug with himself with his latest conquest.
Michael, do you like Ronnie?
I've never had a ginger before, he says.
Michael, you gross man.
So anyway, then Ed comes into the Rovers and says, sorry I was a bit of a git earlier about the camper van. Yeah, it was quite nice of you to do that, actually. Jenny says, right, go and have a seat. I'm going to bang your heads together. I'm going to sort you two out because you need to be friends. Anyway, it didn't take them too long to kiss and make up. And then just to top off the drama that's going on, Kat shows up. Remember her?
Oh, I hated this bit.
Ronnie's wife, everybody. Who I'd forgotten about her.
No, I haven't.
She came in for she was like for one episode a month or so ago, wasn't she? So this is his wife. That are they? No, they're not divorced or anything, are they? They are, very estranged.
Yeah, they're not divorced yet.
No, and Jenny doesn't like the fact that she has been sleeping with a married man because now it's double adultery or something.
Yeah, it is. You get even more punished.
Yeah. So Ed.
Also, Kat comes in and she's an arse. She's like, "Oh, Northerners are rubbish. I bet you don't even have any food, and I don't want crisps that taste weird or something." And it was just like, "Oh yeah, here we go again." You cannot literally have anybody like who lives south of Coventry come on the show without them establishing to begin with that they hate everybody and everything about the north.
Yeah.
Why?
Although,
I don't get it.
Uncle Ronnie is from south of the border, isn't he?
South of what border?
Coventry border.
I just want to point out Coronation Street is a show that is watched by people all across the country. It's not just, I know it's for Northerners, but can we not alienate whole entire groups of people by making out that we're all snobs and idiots? Because we're not, and posh.
Ed didn't even know that Ronnie was married either, so that's kind of a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, that was
Ronnie tells her to bog off because he didn't want anything to do with her there, so she clip-clops off, and I think that's the last we saw of her. Jenny goes into the back. She has a bit of a moment. She has a bit of a wobble, doesn't she? Sam and Sean and Daisy are there talking about MLM stuff. She's like, get back into your bar. And then she says, stupid, stupid, stupid. And that was her commentary on this storyline at the moment. Not to do with herself, because
she was just looking at the plot for the next
She was just reading her future scripts. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Oh, gosh, it was. Oh, man, it's so bad. But... I don't think I'm mad at Jenny. I don't think I'm mad at Jenny.
Yeah, I wanted to point this out. This is the thing I've said before about like people and how you judge other people by their actions and yourself by your intentions. And if you like somebody on Coronation Street, you're usually quite happy to allow whatever their intentions to be how you judge them. You know, so
I am.
So you give people a get out of jail free card sort of thing for bad behaviour. But there's also the extra added dimension on Coronation Street of the script writers made them do it.
That's what I'm thinking.
Which is
I'm feeling that she was the marionette of the week.
Yeah, it's quite a funny and weird sort of position to take, but it is one that I often employ myself when a character I like does something I don't think they would do.
Yeah.
And I want to excuse it, but equally another character I don't like who would do something that was not in character, I would say, yeah, definitely, I hate them, so that's what they would do. So yeah. I completely understand that is not applied in equal measure to everybody, but it is part of being a Coronation Street fan or like a soap fan in general.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I felt that it was that Jenny was thrown in front of a bus this week. She didn't throw herself in front of a bus. It was whoever thought that this train wreck of a story would be a great idea to boost the ratings.
And a marauding bus.
There were all kinds of vehicle crashes going on in there. There's like a helicopter on top, hovercraft comes launching in from the Weatherfield Canal.
Tugboat.
Yeah.
This is the difference between character and a plot driven story.
Yes.
So this was plot driven.
This was plot.
You just know the characters wouldn't have done this, and it's weaker. To me, it's a weaker form of story because you could have put anybody in this situation, and it would have. It just feels a bit like a child playing with toys and like sending Barbie off to war with G.I. Joe because they've got a G.I. Joe and that's what they want to do with them. Doesn't make any sense because Barbie, we know, legendarily pacifist.
I think the people who came up with this story were like,
and vet.
Johnny, that sounds like Ronnie, doesn't it? Wouldn't it be funny if
she got confused?
She got confused.
It's easy done.
Yeah. Anyway, Ronnie and Ed have fallen out again by the next scene. Ed's left.
Ed is Daisy also being a bit of a childish. I don't know though. He did just find out that and Ronnie tried to steal his grandkid and his son. So I don't know. Well, yeah, they've been. I do. They've been not the best of friends somehow, for a little while now. The way that Ed is reacting to Ronnie just feels too childish. I don't mind. I hate Ronnie. Anyone who also is mad at Ronnie. Why do you hate Ronnie? Just because he shagged Jenny? Yeah, I mean, I was never a massive fan of the character really like because he's also, put the cat among the pigeons between Ed and Aggie, and they were just causing needless strife there. Something about his arms. When Vinter came in, and I did that Zoom call with him with the press, he was really keen about being on Coronation Street, and I thought I could like him. And when he came in, he was always kind of schmoozing, and he was a bit of a big I am, wasn't he? A bit. Successful businessman. I was like, he could be good, but not amazing. Shaky start. But then he was involved in that Who's the Daddy storylines, and no, I don't want Michael to be his son. And then I've just gone off him a little bit, and then this is just been the kick up the bum. Yeah, and then they almost had him go this week as well, but now he's back. See, this is the sort of thing that it confuses me because I just find it so delightful to see you get mad about something, and it is quite funny how trivial. Obviously, all of this is trivial. Really bad things are happening in the world. We're getting mad about a TV show, but it's just really funny to watch sometimes. So I think I like him just because of how mad he makes you. I could like him. I mean, some characters you can like, and then years down the line, they're given the right story, and you kind of forget about what they've done in the past and everything. Oh, yeah, so it's not like I've completely. This happens very often too with introductions to characters. Yeah, it does. They have a really crappy beginning. Yeah, I mean, look at Evelyn for example. Yeah, I mean, even look at Lee Todd. Evelyn didn't go jumping into bed with, I don't know, Dev. Yeah, why not? Lee Todd also had a pretty rubbish introduction. Yeah, and Daisy, well, I don't think she's got out of hers yet, I have to say. She just spends the whole week looking all minxy and going, what have you got against minxy people? Anyway, Ronnie goes and finds Jenny out in the back, and she's very ashamed of herself. So you should be. I have to say that most of the way that she reacted after this was in character, and her being very ashamed. Yes, I think that she probably would be. She probably would regret it. I don't know what came over her. But I do. Oh, gross. He says, look, it just looked like you needed a bit of fun. And then Daisy walks in and picks up on the atmosphere. Ronnie goes. She immediately gets yeah, okay. Well, Daisy, ever since she's moved in, has been sitting there, trying to find some dirt on Johnny, listening at doors with the glass. So it's not a surprise that she found out about this as quickly as she did. Anyway, Jenny says, "Oh I'm just a bit sad because I saw Johnny earlier. It really got to me." And then Daisy goes, and Jenny's left alone in the back room, and she puts on some lippy and says, "Come on, Jenny, big girl pants." And you said to me, what does that mean? Is she putting on a pair of pants to ward off future No, I knew what it meant, really. Shagging? No, then I put the tweet out that said if she'd been wearing a big girl pants, then maybe she wouldn't have ever got into this mess. Anyway, that putting on some lippy scene is the occasionally done, scene in Rover's Landladies. I'm sure Jenny's done it before in the past, and Bet definitely did. And Jenny as a landlady certainly does have some similar characteristics to Bet, doesn't she? And even Bet, I mean, I'm not going to sanctify her completely because I think she's probably ended up, in bed with the wrong person. But did she cheat on Alec? I can't remember. Yeah, but if she did, it wouldn't feel the same because, first of all, Bet feels like that kind of character who would do that, whereas Jenny she's got a history of being very insecure in her relationship with Johnny, for a start, and feeling like she's not good enough for him. And it really felt like she had to fight against a lot of prejudice from people against her who thought that she was a gold digger and everything. And then she kind of thrown it all away.
Yeah.
And also, Bet and Alec, they had a very weird marriage. They obviously were sexually active with one another, but it wasn't very clear that they were attracted to each other.
No.
Or that they had any kind of romantic feelings. It just felt a bit like two people that didn't hate one another, who could get on when they needed, who, when they had a bit of a steam to let off, that's what they did with each other. It was really odd.
Yeah, you're right.
And Jenny and Johnny never had that kind of relationship. They've been through some really tough times, and she's stood by him the whole time. And now at this kind of final hurdle, she's fallen for some kind of really, I don't know. It just feels like, of all the things that could have gone wrong in their marriage, there were so many things before this that would have made more logical sense to have happened than her going, I'm just going to shag the lodger.
Yeah. Going to Roger the Lodger. That is the storyline title.
I thought my name
Jenny
was Ronnie.
Rogers the Lodger. Right, Wednesday then. Jenny cannot get rid of Ronnie quick enough first thing in the morning. Again, Daisy's like, ooh, what's going on here?
Happened?
Ooh.
Oh.
She just confronts Jenny, says, look, what's going on? What's happened? Tell me now, or I'm going to ask you in front of the whole pub. And Jenny looks all guilty, and Daisy gets it. She's like, oh, did you snog him? OMG, you didn't do anything wrong.
Well, yeah, because she went, did you snog him? And Jenny's like, oh.
Yeah, where's that poker face, Jenny? You should not
She's not had a poker face the whole time she's been in the show.
Daisy says, well, look, you're going to need to leave.
Nobody on Coronation Street's got a poker face.
Sharon definitely hasn't this week,
No.
she? Daisy says, look, you're going to need to leave Johnny now. Jenny's like, oh, no, I love him. I would never leave Johnny. And also, Ronnie's married. Oh, no, what a quandary we're in. Ronnie is in the Rovers with Ed later, and he says, well, I'm moving away. I'm selling half my business to Kat and leaving town. And so far that sounds good. Oh, I knew it wouldn't happen really, but I allowed myself to get my hopes up just for a little bit of time on Wednesday's episode. Ronnie tries to explain himself to Jenny. She's not interested. Well done, Jenny. Things are looking on the up. And then he says, oh, he brings out the old sob story about his first marriage hitting the rocks. Then he had his fling with Aadi and finally meeting Kat. He just reels off his list of conquests, basically. And Kat cheated on him, humiliating him. Oh, how sad for you. My heart bleeds. And then she seems to feel sorry for him. And he's like, oh, you weren't just another notch on my bedpost, Jenny. Honestly, you're more than that.
You are, but you're also more than that.
And then just as I was starting to think, Jenny's standing firm here. She's realised that she's made a mistake. She regrets it. It's done. This is when Ronnie's like, well, if you want, nothing else has to happen. I can walk away if you want, if that's what you want, Jenny. And then she's like, oh, it isn't. Why would she say that? Oh my God.
That was weird. That was a bit weird.
That was so, why would ever since they did the dirty deed, she's been looking like she's regretting it. And he's saying walk away, and she's like, no, I don't want you to walk away. Why not?
That really did come out of nowhere. She's like, get the hell out of my house. And he's like, you want another shag? And she's like,
yeah. Guess so.
Yeah.
And so then Ronnie I can imagine him getting his little child catcher fingers out, going walks over to Jenny, and then what do you know, Param, Johnny walks in with a bunch full of flowers. I'm back. I've done a classic Corrie getting back early from something, which is a little known but sometimes still used Coronation Street trope.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not.
I'm back early from my prison trip, holiday, mental health break, visiting a sick relative, maternity leave, etc.
It's not quite as classic as the old driving test fake out.
No.
Or what else have we got? Trial periods or anything like that.
I need to tell you something. Wait, I need to tell you something first.
Yeah, that's it.
I know and also the classic we had all Friday. I know what you're up to. What do you mean? You're planning a surprise party for me. Oh no, I'm not. I'm having an affair, but I'm not going to tell you that.
Yeah, but no, somebody coming back early from something. It feels like it's been a while since it's been used, but I can't even think of what reason he gave.
He wanted to surprise her.
Why would you do that?
But surely
Why?
coming out of prison, it shouldn't be a surprise. It's not like it's not. You can't. I don't think you can build.
Oh,
that
I thought you
into
had the death sentence.
Yeah, I don't think you can build that into like. There's some things kind of lend themselves to surprise parties, like birthdays or engagement parties or something. Coming home from prison party, no.
I think that you'd probably get really mad if I did that, wouldn't you? I think you like to be prepared.
I would not like it if you came home early from anywhere. I don't even like it when you come home early from work.
Yeah, I have to text Gemma before I leave school every day to say I'm on my way.
Out.
And occasionally, if I forget, you do get a bit mad, don't you? You didn't say you were coming home.
It's because I would like to be prepared. I don't know what it is. I literally don't know.
Oh, guys, Michael coming. Why work myself up for it?
I've got to put my makeup on. I've got to put my best undies on.
Yeah. Make him a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Anyway,
definitely.
Johnny's back.
Oh, good.
And Ronnie kind of introduces himself before making a hasty exit so that Johnny can have a nice reconciliation chat with Jenny or whatever they got up to.
Who looks like a deer in the headlights.
She does, yeah. Daisy, she comes in later and she had seen Johnny before, hadn't she? Yeah, she makes some horrible cowy joke about his blindness, doesn't she? She says, "Oh, do I look a bit blurry to you?" She's such an arse.
It really hasn't been made apparent yet why she's got such a massive hatred of Johnny. Like, I remember when she first came in and she just hated him. And I said, I wonder if it's because she secretly wants to get Jenny back with her dad.
Yeah.
Because we know, we assume, I don't think there's ever been, it's kind of obvious, that she is the daughter of Jenny's husband, who they together had a child who drowned. I'm assuming that's who she is.
I don't know.
She's the sister of the dead child. She's never brought him up. She never said anything about the fact that Jenny, blames herself for the death of this child, or that the marriage broke down. I assumed that she didn't like this Johnny because she wanted to hook Jenny up with her dad again because she liked it when they were together. That's been blown out of the window out of the window.
Yeah,
it's been blown away because she's not mentioned it, and as far as I
yeah, she still
really hates this guy, and
she's like a dog with she's like a bitch with a bone.
Can I say that in real life this happens? Sometimes there's something about somebody, and if you're listening to me, you might understand this feeling, that you just hate them for no reason and you don't know why. They just really wind you up. Every single thing that they say, you just find irritating. This happens in real life, but not in fiction, because in fiction things need to have a reason to happen. Everything needs to have a reason, otherwise it's kind of, it's pointless. You know what I mean? So her just continual hatred of Johnny is baffling in itself.
Yeah.
And then you add in this as well.
Yeah,
it just kind of adds up to just a bad time. Johnny
kind of takes it on the chin a little bit and just thanks her for looking after Jenny while he was away, and then she makes some comment about, oh, there's never been a dull moment here. Hey, Jenny, hey. Jenny gets Daisy on her own later and says, look, just forget what you know. I am with Johnny now. And Daisy clearly doesn't want to forget about this. She wants to milk it for all it's worth. This is going to keep her going for a good few months.
She's just going to keep making stupid faces until it's obvious what it is that she's reacting to.
Yeah, she brings up the fact that Johnny had an affair with Liz, and I think that is worth mentioning, that Johnny is not, pure as the driven snow either, but and I have forgiven that, so maybe I can forgive this given time, but his son had just died, so what's Jenny's excuse? I don't know.
My son died ages ago.
Then speaking of classic Corrie tropes, Gemma, Jenny, you're no, what is it? Oh no, who says this?
I don't know, darling.
Daisy says this. You're never going to be able to keep this from Johnny. It's much better to tell him now. Enter the Johnny. Tell me what? Bloody hate that. Why do people on this soap continuously?
Because it's drama. Have you noticed?
What don't I know? Oh man. Jenny kind of stutters and ums and ahs for a bit and says, "Oh,
it's so funny.
The break cliffhanger's over. We've not the take-ins have been down recently in the pub. Yeah, that's what it is. COVID. And she doesn't actually blame COVID, does she? Because she's been secretly
Johnny's
smuggling customers in without anybody noticing all throughout this lockdown. But
Johnny's like, yeah, I kind of expected it to be down a bit, what with the global pandemic.
Yeah. No, he says, I don't mind. I thought it would be something big. And then Daisy keeps on mentioning Ronnie being there and, oh, Ronnie's so special. And Johnny doesn't pick up on any of this at the moment, but it's not going to be long before he is, because he's not done.
I don't think he's going to get it.
I suppose
it's not going to be Daisy that tells him.
I don't know. Anyway, Jenny sends Daisy off into the bar. Ronnie has packed his suitcase later. He's bogging off back down south. He says goodbye to Ed, but then they make up.
He doesn't know where he's going to go, does he?
No, and Ed's like, oh, you could stay in my camper van. And Ronnie thinks that's a brilliant idea.
He said, did you see Corrie when...
remember when Mary was in the camper van?
That was funny, wasn't it? Do you want to have a funny story about being a giant man in a tiny van and how you can't sleep sideways or something? I'm surprised that didn't come up, to be honest.
Last scene of the episode, again, Jenny grows a pair a little bit and says to Daisy, right, I've had enough of you, madam, and your snidey remarks. Any more stirring, you're out on your ear. And Daisy gets a bit caught off guard by this. She thinks that she can just kind of pout continuously and get away with it.
Can't believe it.
Which she does on Friday, because it seems that on Friday's episode, when she continues exactly the same behaviour, Jenny just lets her get away with it.
She really does.
So we begin the episode on Friday with Daisy dropping more massive hints about Ronnie. And Johnny says, oh, I know you resent me for what I put Jenny through, but I'm a nice guy, really. You need to trust me. I do whatever I can to make Jenny happy. When I was inside, I hated the thought of, Jenny waking up alone in the bed. And Daisy's like, oh, well, Anyway, he tells Jenny that he thinks that Daisy's got it in for him. And then Ronnie shows up in the Rovers because he's been invited to a drink by Ed. Jenny kind of hurries Ronnie into the back, making out that he's come there to get his phone charger or something.
She said, what the hell are you doing?
And Jenny says, look, you need to keep your distance. Stop texting me. So he's been hounding her, this creep.
What's he been texting her? I think he's been texting her like aubergines and dick pics.
Yeah, I bet he has, the slime ball. And then she's like saying, oh, me and Johnny want to move on. And I was just waiting, and I'm glad it didn't happen. I was just waiting for her to say, oh, but you're so sexy. I want to jump your bones.
I thought Johnny was going to come in and go, move on from what?
Oh,
and Jenny no. Just our money problems.
Yeah, no, I thought that she was going to have another relapse, a mental relapse. And then she's like, well, he says, she says that he seems like a nice bloke. No, he says, I forgot what happened. He says to Jenny, your Johnny seems like a nice bloke. That's it. Well, he must be a nice bloke to bag a lovely girl like you, basically. So he's still clearly got feelings brewing for her that he can't keep under control. So he needs to dump a bucket of water over his stupid head.
Over in his hat. He's said that
he's getting... dry clean only.
He's getting a divorce from Kat, isn't he? So he mentioned this. Did you say this? That he said that? So maybe. He's like a free agent, basically. So he's not... I don't feel he thinks he's encumbered by...
looking who to move on
to next,
wasn't, the predator.
He certainly wasn't encumbered by his marriage when he slept with Jenny the first time, so...
No, it was all over, wasn't it? And then, then Johnny gets invited to number 3 to play dominoes with Ronnie and Ed, as you do.
The only domino game I know how to play is when you match the numbers together.
I don't know. I mean, we've seen Ina Sharples doing a bit of domino playing, haven't we, on the DVDs? And you got to just kind of tap them and I play it like it's Snap. Like it's Snap with cards.
Yeah,
basically.
Is that what you do?
I don't know.
You use matchsticks.
I thought that you just kind of line them up in a row and then push the one over and go, way, it's got them all. Or you almost line them all up and then they fall over before you're ready.
That's what would happen in Coronation Street.
Yeah. Oh, Ina Sharples, she needs to come back and bang all their heads together, doesn't she?
She's revolving in her grave. She's powering the whole of the
flipping
north.
She is.
Electricity just from her outrage.
Yeah, the moral outrage about what lurid activity is going on our beloved street.
What Jean Alexander said about this show after she left, never come back, it's full of smut. She went wrong.
Oh, sometimes smut can be fine on Coronation Street, but not this smut.
When is it fine? fine. I don't want to see it ever.
Then Fizz comes into the Rovers, and thank you, Coronation Street. Yes, there is another affair storyline going on at the moment. You're right.
Yeah.
Let's not try and hide it. Let's put it right up front and centre and have Fizz going, oh, that Tyrone, oh, I hate him. He's ruined our family. I loved him. And now he's just wrecked the whole marriage.
Me.
Yeah. And Daisy's there going, oh, well, somebody cheated on me. I would never forgive them.
Fizz go, at least he never did it behind my back.
Yeah. And Jenny's going, oh, that's similar
terrible.
to my situation. Oh,
and
dear.
Poor Ryan standing there, and they look at him like you men are pigs.
Oh, was it nice to see Ryan again today?
Hello.
He hasn't seen Ryan for ages.
I know.
We were talking on the podcast last week about where he lived, and we thought that they were still living with Kelly and Imran and Toy, but no, they're living with the Golden Girls, aren't they? Blimey, I don't know how that happens.
And Elaine.
What?
So 5 adults living in that house, and apparently Cathy's got her own room.
But you only see 3 of them at once.
Cathy's got her own room, so they have is it 4-bedroom house? I do not think it is.
I don't know. Maybe they've converted the chicken coop or something. If anything, it should be Ryan and Alia that are fed up of Cathy crashing there.
I know.
And not Elaine, who probably they should just get on nicely. But anyway, yeah, Johnny comes back home after his dominoes, and what do you know? He's invited Ronnie to move back into the guest room because they're mates now, and you got on so well when he was living here before, didn't you, Jenny? And so to the end of the episode, Jenny and Ronnie have a talk together. She's not happy. Ronnie says, look, maybe it's better all round if we keep this little sordid affair a secret.
Yeah,
I'm sure they can definitely do that.
So Michael, what are your thoughts on this story?
Not so good. Not so good. It's not like it's come out of nowhere.
No, I know.
I kind of hope that...
Jenny's been flirting with Ronnie since she saw him first, but
I thought that's all it was.
She is a very flirty lady.
I thought that she'd be kind of flirting with him, and then maybe he would try and come on to her, and he'd be like, I don't think so, mister. Not like very first opportunity.
Oh, what a treat for me.
Drops her jaws for him. I'm so disappointed.
You've never had a man like Ronnie come on to you, Michael. You might melt.
I have not. No. I'm not.
There's something about you that they just don't.
I'm not their
go
type.
For you.
No.
Big burly men with hats.
I'm just kind of looking at my notes for the thing from my complaints about this, and I think we talked about it already.
He wears skin tight white tops. I don't trust them.
He didn't have a white top on.
He does have a white top.
Has he got?
I'm pretty sure he's got like a kind of a cream coloured top. Don't trust you because that's a difficult colour. What do you do when you spill stuff down your front?
Were you mad at this story?
No, not really, because it's not real. And I know that's a stupid thing to say because other things I get really hat up about. And I can feel real depth of emotion for people and characters and stuff. And stories can really touch me. But sometimes when something happens that's so stupid, I just disengage from it completely, and it doesn't bother me because it just feels like, yeah, whatever, okay, this is just a story. I
think the fact that it comes so soon after the Fizz and Tyrone storyline, they're just doing it to spite me at the moment.
Yeah,
I love Fizz and Tyrone, and look what's happened to them. What a mess.
I
love Jenny and Johnny.
Of you in the writers' room, and they're like,
so
what
sad.
A mess. What makes him mad? What can we do?
There aren't lots of couples on Coronation Street that I'm, really gunning for.
It is really true to say
and Nina and Seb.
Yeah, dead. It is really true to say that of all the on Coronation Street, there are not very many long-standing couples. You've got Johnny and Jenny, fairly kind of solid.
Well, they've been married, what? So they've only been married 3-4 years, maybe? They've been together longer because the Blackpool was 5 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, they've been together a fair amount of time and they've had their ups and downs. And you've also got Fizz and Tyrone, who are another couple that have been together for sort of solid amount of time.
Yeah, 9 years. Sim and Tally.
Them. And you've also got, like, for example, Aggie and Ed.
Yeah.
Who have been married off screen for decades. And they had an affair storyline this year. Tyrone and Fizz have had an affair storyline this year, and Jenny and Johnny have had an affair.
It's like Ian McLeod goes, oh, that Brian Park, when he came and put the cat among the pigeons by splitting up Seven and Callie this time. Yeah. Kevin and Sally, that sounds good. Let's do it to all the long-term couples and really ruin everyone's favourite couples.
I just need to point out, you're never going to have the shock value of a Kevin and Sally breakup ever again on Coronation Street, because they can't leave people alone in a couple. They just cannot give it the length of time that is needed anymore for you to care when they break up.
And yet, who are some of the most iconic favourite couples on Coronation Street? Oh, it's the ones that have been married for a long time. Your Jack and Vera's, your Stan and Hilda's.
Even Jack and Danny.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
it was really weird about the Coronation. Coronation Street can't do it anymore.
I've wanted a Johnny and Jenny story for so long.
Well, you've got one now, so how do you like it?
Well, we kind of had one last year, but that was a bit weird, wasn't it, with Scott? Because there was some kind of lingering flirtation going on there, wasn't there, between Jenny and Scott?
Jenny's been gagging for a side shag.
Gagging for a shagging?
For ages.
Oh.
So, it was only a matter of time.
I know, but why can't they just have a nice story? And no
offence to Scott, but I think she held out for Ronnie, and good for you.
Not good for you. I wanted a Rovers story, and we've got a Rovers story. It's just like, it's just not what I want.
Okay, I know now.
What do you think with old Daisy?
Daisy is an enigma, isn't she? Because I don't know, are we supposed to like her or not? Like, I tolerate her. I think she's fine.
I've seen really mixed opinions on her online. Some people think that she's brilliant and a real stirrer and a bit of a Tanya Pooley.
You've got to have a bit of a stirrer.
But to me, she's just comes across as seriously unlikable. She's nasty, and
I just think she needs more. She doesn't have a motivation, clearly defined motivation for not liking Johnny. Like I said, it's fine in real life. This happens, but not in fiction, I'm afraid.
I think with Tanya as well, Tanya Pooley, when she was going after Raquel, because Raquel was so innocent and pure and drippy, that did a good job at making her seem even more villainous and manipulative.
Yeah, and it also made sense because that Tanya is the kind of woman who would not tolerate somebody being an idiot and getting away with it all the time, and everyone going, "Oh, she's so sweet and beautiful. Just let her be stupid and not know what's going on."
And she had more than one dimension.
Anyway,
whereas Daisy's as fat as a pancake.
I don't mind her, but I will really say I'm waiting for something to happen with her to explain why she is so horrible.
Tell you what I'd like to happen to her. Right, okay. Sharon, confidential information. Let's move on.
Okay, right.
No more Johnny, Jenny, Ronnie chat. I think I've got my opinion across. Roger the lodger.
Rogering. Right. Monday, Sam is on inset and he's being looked after by Gail, and then Natasha's just Miss Moneybags, isn't she? She's like paying Daniel 35 quid to tutor
her already pretty bright
Sam.
son.
She's filling up the sinkhole with cash.
Is she going to make it like a Scrooge McDuck swimming pool of coins? She
literally says to Gail, I'll just fill it with £5 notes. It doesn't matter to me. I'm rich.
I love how every so often, every couple of months, somebody kind of looks out of the back window and goes, "Oh, that sinkhole!
Great big hole
Forgot about that. Yeah, we need to do something about that."
You'd think that there would be some kind of issue with this.
The sinkhole that we've seen on screen for one episode is ridiculous.
It makes sense that Gail bought it at an auction, because you can't sell your house with one thing wrong with it in this country, normally.
Oh, yeah, we know all about that this week. We've been filling in more forms.
Getting mad.
We've been getting mad at the questions that our buyers want to... They want...
No. Sharon is on the phone to Harvey, and she's saying that, the police are crawling with police around here because of Seb's murder. I can't be sneaking around as much as I normally do, but then she proceeds to do that
all week. Yeah,
she's like, she reminds me of a cartoon character from like the Pink Panther or something, like tiptoeing with a swag bag. She might as well have. I mean, everyone's wearing a face mask because of Corona. She might as well have one over her eyes as well, like with like a bandit's kind of evil mask.
Yeah.
Gail tells Audrey that Natasha's offered to pay for the sinkhole, but she says she can't accept it. And Audrey decides to babysit Sam for some reason.
I think that was always the original plan. I don't know. Anyway, Sam ends up being babysat by Audrey, which did provide a bit of relief for the week, I have to say. It was more of Audrey getting drunk and being silly,
well, she's
which
really funny.
I kind of enjoyed.
Sharon overhears Aadi talking about Dev playing. He's talking about playing Fortnite with Simon, not on that console though.
Fortnite, which did not appear on the games list of alongside, what was it, Jungle Adventure, Jungle. I
want to live in a jungle.
I want to know how long it took them to come up with the names of those games.
Jungle Universe.
Yeah.
Like, imagine Star Trek, but with lions. That'd be cool.
And the UI on them, it was all just a mess.
The UI was fine.
It wasn't.
Shut up. There's no need. Audrey is getting drunk on the sofa, and she's telling Sam about how she went to London.
Yeah, she talks about. She said, "Oh, my mum warned me about all the promiscuity, and that just made me want to go there more."
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, I can't." Sam's saying something about a sandwich. She's like, I don't drink on a.
I don't like to drink on an empty stomach.
No, I think she says I don't like to eat when I'm drinking. I can't remember. But
I wrote it down. She says. I don't like drinking on a full stomach.
Which is you get that's a joke. I've heard somebody's theory about this, which makes me sad. Which is that they reckon Audrey's getting dementia.
Well, she kept calling Sam Ben, didn't she?
She did keep calling him Ben.
I
thought that was funny, but if it turns out it's tragic, I'll be really mad because that was hilarious.
When Mike started getting his Alzheimer's, he kept calling Penny Alma.
And Audrey's a fantastic character. I'm not ready to lose her.
No, I don't think it was.
Good.
Although I found it funny, I do sometimes have a little sigh when it's like we need to make some comedy here. Let's get a character drunk.
I find it always hilarious. So
do you aspire to be that funny when you're crack open the ciders next?
I am a sparkling wit 24/7.
Are you on anything tonight? You said that you wanted.
Am I on anything?
Didn't you say after we finished recording last week's podcast, you wanted to give some?
I said I should do a disclaimer at the beginning of every episode to explain whether I'm drunk or not.
Sober or
drunk.
And
I said to you last week, I didn't make a lick of sense last week, and I was not. I was sober as a judge.
Liquor sense. That's when you really straight talking. Clarity through alcohol. I have liquor sense.
Again, I've not had anything to drink, and I think I don't make sense again.
Well, there are a couple of empty bottles on the coffee table. We did have the worst Chinese ever for dinner tonight, didn't we?
It was disgusting. It was absolutely...
We wanted to get a nice takeaway to reward myself for doing a good job in my inspection at school today, and we had a horrible Chinese.
It was really bad. It was one of the worst ones we've ever had.
Anyway. I've lost where we are now. Oh, they have that stupid thing with the conductor, the silver bracelet being used as an electricity conductor.
Yeah, Gail comes back. Sam's doing an experiment on the table, and Audrey's not paying a bit of attention at all. And he's using a bracelet he's stolen off Natasha as a conductor, and so she takes it off of him.
Gail does, yeah.
Yeah, and then Natasha comes back, and Gail's looking for something in her bag, and the bracelet falls out and makes her look like a right robber.
That's it. Oh my god, that scene encapsulates everything that's wrong with Gail, doesn't it? She's looking for, I don't know what it was in her bag, and she's shaking her bag out onto the table to find whatever it is, a key or purse.
I think it's worth mentioning here that we haven't said that Gail's been cleaning Natasha's house.
Oh yes, that's probably quite important.
So Gail, it looks like Gail's gone and thieved Natasha's bracelet.
And that's the end of the episode with Gail pulling a stupid buffoon face, going, "Oh, how am I going to explain this? Oh, maybe I'll just tell the truth." And then Natasha goes off on
Shut up. Sam says she was covering for Sam because she knew she took the bracelet off of Sam, and she said, "I don't think your mum would want you to have this." So she took it off of him, put it in her bag so she could put it back without Natasha noticing. Then when it falls out in front of Natasha, she's suddenly hit with this dilemma. Do I say it was Sam, or do I just wait for her to fill in the blank somehow? At this point,
like she was caught red-handed.
Honestly, at this point, you just say, "Look, Sam had this, and I took it off of him."
Yeah.
He's like a little kid. You don't need to cover for his honour.
No.
He actually did this. He actually did take it. And also, Natasha is such a bloody proud mum that she'd be like, "Oh, he's doing his science experiment. Do you want my tiara?"
No, Gail just...
Yeah, anyway,
Gail should be like...
It gets a bit confrontational. And then Sam goes, "Oh, it was me." And everyone calms down and it's over. And this was kind of that... The week was full of, like, inconsequential stupidity and absolute ridiculous character-wrecking nonsense. So Gail says, after all that, I will accept your offer to fill up the sinkhole and I'll pay you back. And this is when...
By pushing you in it.
Natasha says...
Pay you back for accusing me of stealing your bangle.
You should start a business. A bottoming business.
She doesn't say that. That was my notes. I am stunned that we were able to get through an episode talking about Gail's cleaning without the word bottoming appearing.
So she says, oh yeah, you should start a business. And Gail's like, oh, I'm so flattered. Maybe I should.
Maybe she should.
She spent her whole life
like
cleaning.
All she's good for these days, pushing a mop around.
There's nothing wrong with being a cleaner, Michael.
Oh, I know. Kim and Aggie made
I've been a cleaner for in my life, and let's not forget, Connie made a mint with her cleaning business. Jack's girlfriend,
nice reference.
Who lived in a massive house, and everyone was surprised because she was a cleaner. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm loaded. I get other people to do the cleaning, and I keep all the money for myself." Sharon goes and tells Harvey about the fact that you can track him down on Fortnite, and she's going to get his gamer tag and something.
She what did she say? She says, oh, it's like an email address for consoles or something. Or he says, I can't remember, but
it was honestly
nobody knows what they're talking about on here.
Oh, odd. Sharon offers, so Sharon's now got to try to get access to Aadi's console to get the information about Simon. So, beginning of the plan is to offer to share a bottle of wine with Dev, who is a randy bugger and totally up for it. On Wednesday, she comes back to the shop and it turns out that she and Dev have had a pretty good night together. And Sean comes in and Sharon's going, oh, I lost my earring down the side of the sofa. I really want it because it's good luck and I need it for later. And she keeps going on about it until Dev gives her his key so she can go and look. And Sean's like, oh, gossip.
It all worked very conveniently in her favour.
Everything worked perfectly for Sharon this week. She puts this console on. She's like, oh, press the button. And so she phones Harvey up and says, oh, I don't understand how to work this console.
Tech support. How can I help you?
She finds his gamer tag, which is...
hang on. Now, this was a bit of a plot inconsistency here, wasn't it? Because it seems like they both have two gamer tags. Simon, on Aadi's console, I think, his gamer tag was Psy-Bar 2003. But on Simon's own console, his gamer tag was Psy-Barman.
Yeah.
Aadi, on the other hand, on one of the console was just Aadi, and on the other one, on his console, and this was genius. I like this.
This was the best bit.
The Annihilator.
Absolutely.
Well
perfect.
done, whoever came up with that one. I applaud your efforts in punnery.
Yeah.
But the fact that you couldn't have the same gamer tag on both machines, maybe on this, in this system, whatever it is, because it's certainly not a PlayStation or an Xbox or a Nintendo. If it was a Switch, it would have been quite handy because she could have just hoiked it out of the cradle, couldn't she? Taking it back.
But she wouldn't have been able to message him, would she?
Very true, because Nintendo hasn't quite got the hang of messaging between friends on the Switch.
Not allowed to have friends on Switch.
No. Anyway,
she messages Simon. She's like, oh, can you believe Kelly's been charged with Sub's murder?
OMG, she says.
And then Dev comes in all like randy and stuff. And she's like, I'm a bit rusty.
She tries to hide the fact that the TV's on, doesn't she?
She just stands in front of it.
Her bum's not that big.
Yeah. Can we take it slowly? He's happy. She then walks over to the table and picks this game up and goes, I can't believe you're letting your son play a game like this after the murder and everything. This is really violent. If I was you, I'd ban him from using it for a week. And Dev's like, I don't care.
Okay.
Dev's like, I just want to shag. Yes, whatever you say.
I can't. That was ridiculous.
It was really
she
dumb.
was able to convince him to do that, and he hides this monstrosity of a controller inside the dresser drawer.
He goes, no problem. I'll put this in the drawer, and he'll never find it.
Aadi is my less intelligent child.
I'm not going to talk to my child about violent computer games and ask him why he's playing it, or suggest something more appropriate, or even say
like Jungle Adventure.
Yeah, why don't you play that again? Or even
Jungle
say
Universe. I mean,
I don't care what you play because I know that violent computer games don't, and also you didn't kick anyone to death, so I think you can play what you like. No, he
Aadi
just
was
says,
Aadi did beat up that person outside Victoria Gardens last year, didn't he? I think if he had not been playing Play Fair or Die, then he might have just tried to talk through the problems with the guy who said that his sister was a slag.
I think the problem was he was playing Litter Picker Rampage at the time. And it incensed him.
I bet that was a game on the system.
Yes.
I can see that being like a fencing game or something.
Where you've got a stick and you've got to get a crisp packet, and then a bully comes out and you've got to stab him in the eye to get rid of him. And then every so often an old granny comes out and you have to got to help her across the road. If you stab her in the eye, it's game over. Anyway, so he hides the controller. Aadi comes home and Dev says, "Oh, Sharon was over. She's very interested and sophisticated. And she was up for a bit of hanky-panky, but it's family first. Also, I've hidden your controller." It kind of like sounds like he's setting a side quest. You must find it somewhere in this room. And Aadi's like, "Oh, well, you should have just said something to me about it. I do agree with you. It is too violent for me," which is weird.
That's stupid. It was ridiculous. Everything about this
was
so
written by somebody
and
who I don't know who wrote it, but it didn't feel like somebody who knew what children say or.
Well, also, like, I would have thought that maybe he might have two controllers.
Yeah, that's probably why he was like, "Whatever, Dad. I completely agree with you. Why don't you leave the room so I can play Jungle Universe again?" So Simon gets Sharon's message in their hideout. Obviously doesn't know it's...
He didn't even know that Seb was dead.
No, he's like, "Oh dear." In the cabin later...
Because not only they got no contact with the outside world, obviously don't read
the
the news either.
No, don't listen to the radio. In the cabin later, Dev prepositions Sharon again.
Prepositions?
What would that involve?
In.
They go for cocktails at the bistro, and she says, "Oh, it's a bit expensive, let's go to yours and you can make cocktails for me there." And she butters him up, and then she sends him off to the shops because she wants a Cosmopolitan and she wants some vodka for it. This is so convoluted.
This was a story that is like, I forgive it. It was so bad it was good. This was entertainingly awful.
This was the sort of thing that felt like it could have been legendarily funny, and on paper it probably looked great, but in reality it was so clunky and silly. Like, he kept coming in and she kept going, "Oh, but I also want, sex on the beach," and he has to go and get peach schnapps from somewhere. So anyway, she grabs the controller, switches it on, bloop, 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 bloop. Dev's at the shop, he gets intercepted by Evelyn.
Nothing really happened with that, did it? I think just was the reason why
I don't think Evelyn
he
was
didn't
there.
go home. No, we heard her, but we didn't even see her. It's just the reason why Sharon was able to get a bit longer.
Yeah, Leanne catches Simon reading the messages and has a go at him, and he tells her about Seb, and he gets upset because Simon thinks he's let everybody down, and Leanne says, "You need to remember your safety is our top priority, and it'll be over in a few weeks and you can go home." And
I don't know why she seems to think it's going to be over in a couple of weeks.
No,
is it like
he's going
to get sent down and suddenly all his powers are going to be destroyed? I thought the whole thing with this was that he's got this network of cronies on the outside, and if he gets sent down,
there's no difference between him being on remand or being sent down. As far as I know, that there's different privileges in prison, but he's clearly doing all the stuff that's illegal anyway. It wouldn't make any difference. You're right, it doesn't make any difference. But I guess she doesn't know that he's plotting all this stuff, though.
No.
She's so innocent.
But she does know that he's, an evil drugs lord. And she's had experience with evil drugs lords before. Although I suppose once Jim, saw Jez Quigley off, then that was all over for that. So.
Dev's back home later with this romantic music playing, listening to Sharon talking about her past boyfriends. And then she sends him off again. And she goes to turn on the console, and Cy Barlow 2003, which sounds like the dodgiest android ever.
I am Cybar 2003.
What's he just like pushes his mum over, and that's his power. So he's deleted his account.
And Sharon goes, "Where are you?" Speaking to maybe she thinks it's got voice recognition technology or something, combined with location.
You pointed out here that Simon's made the ultimate sacrifice because he's deleted all of his achievements, his saved data.
Whole user account.
What a plonker! Can't you just block him?
Maybe that's... I don't know. it felt like he had deleted his whole user profile, which I don't think he'd be so quick to do. Maybe Leanne did it, maybe Nick did, I don't know. But Simon didn't seem mad afterwards.
No.
Just like Aadi wasn't mad when Dev
It's because it's a rubbish console.
I think it's true. Maybe he's right. It's like, can I have a proper one now, please?
Yeah, I've deleted it.
Can I have one that plays games that people have heard of?
Can I get a console that people have heard of? Like, rather than this, like, knockoff weird one that was made in Russia.
It was totally, wasn't it? It's one of those ones you get down the market.
I thought it's like a
£50.
Kickstarter one where they say, this will be the world's most immersive computer game experience. Jungle Universe.
The controller has 20 buttons.
It's got the whole alphabet on it.
It did look like a BlackBerry or something.
Do you want your child to get ready for the world of business? Dev comes home and he's all randy, and Sharon's gone and his kids are there. And he's very sad and confused. And they make fun of him. A totally healthy family there, I think. Sharon gets on the phone to Harvey Bum phone, and he says, people are moving in on our patch, we've got to try plan B. And she says, but he's just a little kid. And then we have zoom in on number 8 just to remind us that he's in there somewhere being an innocent, happy child, and evil people are planning evil things.
Yeah, I do like how Sharon is not, if it feels in some way redeemable and she feels guilty for what she's doing and everything. But what I don't need is at the end of every single bloody scene that Sharon does something nasty. They have to show her going, ooh, I'm so regretful about this.
At the end of every scene, Sharon displays the opposite emotion to the one that she's just been doing.
Yeah. Somebody walks off, oh no, I'm being naughty.
On Friday, she is in the middle of sort of apologising to Dev when Harvey phones her to tell her to get on with kidnapping Sam. Sam is worried about Nick, and he says, to Natasha that he's not texting him for a while. Natasha says she shouldn't have even texted him at all. Sharon's listening in. Natasha confiscates his phone and drives off with it. That's going to be a big regret. Because if he had the phone, he could have escaped.
See, I thought what the plan was, which it doesn't seem to be going this way, that they were going to kidnap Sam and say, "Give me your phone, and I'll let you go." And he's like, "But I don't have my phone." And then, and then they're like, "Oh, now what do we do? Chuck him in the canal or something?" Yeah. But it seems like their plan is actually just to leave him stranded. Yeah.
I don't know how. Yeah, I don't see the link here between kidnapping Sam and getting anything.
Well, I think that they're trying to lure Nick.
But he has to know where he is.
Well, he just doesn't matter. He wants to have him searching around, doesn't he?
Okay.
I think that's what
I know, but it's not logical, is it? Because how are you going to find a kid? I mean, I guess Nick would say to Leanne, don't worry, we're in a soap. I'll just walk around and I'll stumble across him, probably.
I'll be like, it's all right, they're not doing location shooting at the moment. We'll find him quickly. What? They filmed Seb's murder outside the set?
Well, let's go there then. Let's go to that wasteland that I've heard so much about. Sharon goes to see Shona, and she says, I've got these spa tickets that I can't use. You and Gail use them. And Shona's like, why? All right, fine.
Shona had been one of the few people that had been suspicious of Sharon up to this point. It was Shona and Jenny. And a bit disappointed that Shona
it just takes a spa ticket. Today. Sharon takes a photo of Sam on her phone when Shona's not looking.
So a photo of Sam.
Yeah. And then she talks to this bloke later who's got a giant pedo van man thing.
They should have brought back the pedo van man for this week.
He's like, I'm perfect at this. I can snatch any kid. He says, look,
I need to get my telescope out.
No, he says, right, I've turned up, I've got my pedo van and I've got the puppies. And Sharon goes, sorry, you need a telescope for this, kid. Don't even ask me. So Gary sees this man just standing there with a giant empty van, and he says, what are you doing? Are you a rag and bone man? But I don't know if they have this in other countries. We barely have it here, to be honest. But they just go around taking stuff that's rubbish and selling it.
Who was the rag and bone? Was it?
Oh, yeah.
Was it
Tommy? No. There was
Tommy
one.
Deacon?
Yeah, I think so.
Was it Charlie?
He had a horse and cart.
Yeah.
In the original
in
the show.
In 70s Corrie.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, it's that really Irish guy, wasn't he?
really Irish.
He's so Irish.
Oh God. So he's like, I'm here to get rubbish. And Gary says, do you want 20 quid to take some rubbish away? And he's like, no, I'm busy. And Gary says, you don't look busy. you got a giant empty van. And Sharon's getting mad as well. She's like, don't talk to anybody.
Yeah, but he does go off and help Gary.
Well, eventually, Gary's like, look, I'll give you 30 quid to take my stupid wardrobe. And this poor bloke, he's just trying to kidnap a child, gets roped into going down to the blooming recycling centre and probably having to sit in a queue. And then when you get to the front of the queue, the scary man that works there in the fluorescent jacket says, what have you got? And you're like, oh, well, it's a wardrobe. And he says, put it over there. And then you get scared and you have to park your car in a horrible bay. And everyone's walking around with bits of furniture.
You got a bit of traumatic experience in your past.
I'm scared of going to the dump.
Well, it doesn't seem to take that long because the next scene is back.
And he's made 30 quid.
Oh, that was a nice little diversion of a scene.
If I knew I could make money not snatching children, I don't think I'd have agreed to this, Sharon.
He's going to be a reformed character. He's going to go through the restorative justice programme like Michael Rodwell and turn out to be back and bone man in the end.
Anyway, so he's still loitering and then he sees Sam walking along the road. So the whole thing seems to have been, stand here with your van doors open until Sam comes and then just get him in the back. So as soon as he sees Sam, he gets his phone out and he's like, oh, hi, mate. Yeah, I've still got that telescope. Don't know what to do with it. If only a kid round here was interested in science. But I think they're all into acting. And then Sam goes, excuse me, can I have that telescope? And he says, shut up, kid, I'm not talking to you. Anyway, what the hell am I going to do with this telescope? And Sam goes, excuse me. And he says, shut up and get in the van. So Sam goes, I'm just going to get in the van. I don't know what he's going to do.
Not quite how it went down, but
he's going to nick the telescope himself.
He's just curious. He sees this massive telescope.
Excuse me, you shouldn't throw away scientific equipment. What about one of those things that they used to use to measure people's heads to say whether you were criminally insane or not? That was scientific equipment back in the day, Sam.
What about the little pipette and the swab that I have to use twice a week to do my lateral flow test?
What about all these used coronavirus tests, Sam? You don't know everything, kid. Anyway, he gets in the back of the van and lo and behold, he gets kidnapped. Anyone else, like I said, on Twitter would have worked with a basket of puppies. You just need to know what the kid's interested in. Aadi and Simon just put an Xbox or a PlayStation or something in the back.
Yeah, that's a proper games console. They're probably dead jealous of like Max because he's got a proper one, hasn't he?
He does, yeah.
And Liam, and yeah.
Poor kids. So anyway, he's locked up at the back. The van drives off. Sharon looks out the window. At
this point, Sam doesn't realise he's being kidnapped, does he? He thinks that there's just a misunderstanding.
Excuse me, Mr. Van Man, but you seem to have locked me in and now driving away. I have seen people on our Facebook group going, I'm getting a bit sick of Sam now. I can only imagine this was even more annoying if you're Sam overload. You're on Sam overload at the moment.
I mean,
I'm not going to help.
I don't love Sam as much as I did at the beginning.
I said this all along. Sam is great, but he is one of these characters that you need to be left wanting more with. And I think that we're at this point of saturation if they're not careful.
Yes, saturation. No, that doesn't work.
Anyway, Sharon's like, what have I done? Exactly what I planned to do. Natasha comes round going, have you seen my kid?
Yeah, Sharon's watching from the window, isn't she?
I don't know. Sam also said earlier, there's my young astronomers club has been cancelled. And I don't know whether that turned into anything, but somebody else was calling it the astrology club, which is completely different.
Yeah, Shona calls it the astrology club. I don't know whether that was intentional in the script.
Well, I mean, it works.
Or Julia said the script wrote. Yeah, I guess so.
They're looking for him everywhere. Natasha phones the police. Sharon hears and goes, "Oh, have your kid gone missing? Oh dear, wasn't me." Sam's not really frightened. He thinks that it's all a big mistake. The van gets parked up in the wasteland. Leanne finds out from the police what's happened and tells Nick. Nick phones Natasha. Natasha immediately accuses Nick of kidnapping him, which came out of nowhere. And he says, I mean, for all that, Natasha's been trusting the whole family there implicitly with this kid. And then the slightest bit of trouble, she's like, oh, it's obviously him that kidnapped him. If that was in the back of your mind, you wouldn't have been so trusting. She left him with him when she went to London.
His name is a synonym for steal.
Who?
Nick. It's in there all along.
Oh, it was the clues were there. Yeah. So he's like, of course I didn't nick him. He's quite kind of offended, which he should be. Leanne says to him, Leanne is like all the way through this, like, never mind, Simon, you can't play on your console anymore. Never mind, Nick, your child's gone missing. The main thing is we all stay here and don't move anywhere. So Gail reveals to Sharon.
Oh yeah, she can't keep her mouth shut.
Well, Sharon's like, oh, what's happened to Sam? And Gail goes, guess
Nick
what?
Gone?
Guess what? Drugs, hiding.
She tells her everything, really.
Yeah, and Sharon's like, ooh, I wonder if that gang's taken him. I hear they're dead violent. And then she goes, oh, that's me. And then Sam sits in the back of the van and he sings a song to himself. I can't remember what the song was. It wasn't a very well suited to. It
didn't sound like the sort of song that a 10-year-old would be singing to themselves, but he does lots of things that 10-year-olds wouldn't normally do. So
he should have sung that Coldplay song.
What Coldplay song?
Stars.
Trapped in a Van.
Is there a star song that they sing?
Look at the stars.
Yeah. That would have been good.
That one.
Look
Yellow.
how they shine for you. Yeah, he just sings a little sad song to himself, and we see that the passage of time occurs.
Why did they do that?
I don't get it. Because literally, they don't need to ever show us at the end of an episode time has passed, because we know that, because the next time we watch it, time has passed.
They're usually having breakfast in the cafe.
We pick up on these subtle cues, Coronation Street. You don't need to show us at the end. Imagine if at the end of every episode, though, like they had the sun going down, like in Teletubbies, and then at the beginning of every episode,
Lion King,
or like a rooster crowing. It's morning.
Right.
You've written Sharon subtle as a brick. Yeah,
she's just it's getting a bit silly.
She's very panto.
She's too panto, and it's a shame. And I do think that Tracy Bennett's been getting a bit duff material here, because she's a really, really good actress.
But
it's
not subtle at all.
No, she's proper soap billing it.
But she's I
don't
know why we have to know every time she does anything villainous that she actually is really sad about it. The only thing I can think of is that they're trying to make us more sympathetic to her, so that inevitably when this all comes out we feel bad.
Yeah, but I get it now.
I get it too, but I don't really feel that sympathetic towards her, because she's still kowtowing to this villain who's in prison.
Yeah.
It really does feel like that we're missing more motivation.
Well, some people have said, why doesn't she just say, stuff you, I'm not going to...
Or just don't answer the phone.
Stick the sun where the...
What's it going to do?
Stick that phone where the sun don't shine.
I mean, every single time...
And leave it there this time.
Yeah. Every single time one of his cronies has appeared to help her, she's been the boss of them and told them what to do. And they've been pretty inept. And they've had their hand held at every moment by her to explain what they need to do. So if Harvey did decide to send them after her, I don't think that she'd be in that much danger, because they all seem like idiots.
Well, he's got his van driving crony, and he's got his threatening crony, and he's got his drug delivery cronies.
Yeah, I know, but they all seem like idiots.
No.
Yes. They're all scared of Sharon.
It was that one that...
Doesn't matter.
I'm sure there was a druggy crony a few weeks ago.
You said that when you had the Zoom call with her...
When I was at the Tracy Bennett press interview a couple of months ago, and I don't think this has been made really obvious on the programme, but the reason that she's so indebted to Harvey is because of Wayne, her brother, and Harvey's dad looking after her while she was going through all this cancer treatment. So she feels like, she owes it to her late brother to do his son's bidding.
It falls down when you get to that point.
It half makes sense, I suppose, in some weird way. I just think that I'd like to see a little bit more to humanise her. And I mean, we really have been singing Sharon's praises a lot up until this episode, this week's episodes. So it's not like she's been bad from the start. But I'd like to see more of her not being a big panto villain. Like, where's the nice scenes with Rita? Have we seen Rita since like the first week that Sharon was in it, and they had those bistro scenes? It's a real shame.
She was talking about her bunions the other day. Was she or something?
I don't know. But anyway, that's a bit of unfortunately a COVID problem that I guess Barbara Knox can't appear on the show quite as much as would be handy to have in this story. But maybe having, I don't know, I just wish she had more to do than cackle and look regretful. It's a pity. Because I was hoping for a little bit more. But I mean, as I say, it's only been this week. I suppose we moaned last week when she was being very, very unsubtle when Toya was in the Rovers, wasn't she? Why don't you phone up your sister, Toya? But it can only go on for so long. And it's quite a nice cliffhanger that it's been left with tonight. I can only hope that Monday's episode is going to have some kind of dramatic, kidnappy, car chasey. I don't know. It could be fun. But the fact that Gary was brought in to interact with Sharon and this bloke kind of makes me think that he's going to be involved in Sam's discovery or Sharon's unveiling or something. I'm thinking that maybe this story might be over next week. Maybe that's why Leanne knows she's seen next week's TV guide. I'm not sure. Because don't you think? I mean, Sam's going to get found. It's going to get linked to Sharon. She's going to get arrested or something, and that's the end of that.
I just don't. This whole
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
The whole plan is silly. The plan is silly. That's all I've got to say.
What else did we have this week in this story?
Also, is this going to be the last we ever hear of the sinkhole?
Are we just to assume that it's been covered up?
That would be
now?
fine with me because I don't know why it really existed in the first place.
I don't know.
That's it then, isn't it?
Yeah, we've been doing all the discussions we're going along. Oh yeah, I just wrote Fanny in the notes here because I don't know why.
Fanny something?
No,
Gail's long lost relative.
Oh no, I just wonder what the point of having Gail related to George was.
Yeah, what's the point?
And I wondered when Audrey was starting to reminisce about her time in the 60s, whether she'd, reveal some long lost family Fanny secret or something to young Sam. I don't know.
Or Ben, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Who can keep him straight.
I don't know. But no, that story was so bad it was good, ridiculous, kind of entertaining. But if it is over next week, I might not be too disappointed about it, but it will be a bit weird if Nick and Leanne and Simon just come back to live on the street again and nobody mentions it again.
That might happen.
Right, next story, A Wreath for Franklin, which I'm just going to keep going as a storyline title because I'm so happy with it. And we haven't got any hints about his funeral coming up yet, have we?
Well, yes, because we had George putting his foot in it.
Well, yeah, last week we did,
yeah.
But nothing else has happened since. We didn't even have, what's the name? Abby in it this week, did we? We just get to see Dev putting his foot in it a little bit at the beginning of Monday's episode because Nina's looking normal, as Dev would have put it. He just continually puts his foot in it with the choice of expressions that he's using, yeah. And she's just looking very, very sad and also very colourful and lovely. Asha apologises for her dad. She's worried about Nina because she's gone off her food. She's probably not herself anymore. She's trying to be someone that she's not. It's really, really sad, actually. Then we have Aadi having a go at Corrie in the street, and Corrie's
free because he's just put.
Yeah, he's
blamed everything on Kelly, and everyone believes him because he said it first, and that's how the police operate in Weatherfield.
I think that Corrie should get a job as one of Harvey's henchmen because he's quite threatening, Gemma.
Yeah,
he told Aadi to bog off.
What?
And he said, do one. And he called him, get this,
what?
A little weirdo.
That's just cruel. I
know.
That's just as bad as kicking someone to death, isn't it? Crushing their spirit.
Yeah. So Asha finds Corrie having a bit of a mope in Victoria Gardens later and offers to talk to him, and she's offering a sympathetic ear. And at the time I was thinking, no, Asha,
you idiot.
What are you doing? What are you talking to him for? Why are you going back to him again? But it turns out that she's playing a little bit of a game, she reveals to Aadi recently. And I mean, I'm not talking about Jungle Universe here. She's trying to
That is not a two-player game, and you know it.
She's trying to entrap Corrie and make him think that she is on his side, so maybe he can reveal some evil secrets about how he was the one done
What a great
instead.
plan.
That's about it. We have Wednesday. We have Roy giving Asha a bag of Nina's clothes that he's found out by the bin, and she's going to hang them up in her wardrobe so that they're ready for her when she
I'm going to keep
wants
this
to
for
be
the
a goth again.
triumphant return to form.
Yeah, regothification at some point. I've literally written Tanisha is looking through Nina's stuff here. Asha is looking through Nina's stuff here. She's getting a bit upset. She's like, oh, these clothes are who she is. I'm going to make Corrie pay, and it turns out I think I might have missed some important information in this scene, but because I got Asha saying
of me of not paying attention.
She says to Aadi, Corey's agreed to meet up with me, but then they never did meet up, so I don't really know what happened there.
Good plan.
Are you glad to hear that Asha is doing it? Do you think she's taking a bit too much of a risk here? Is it going to work? I
don't know what's going on here. It feels like the whole story is just going to be Asha gets Corrie to say that he done it, and then she'll go, haha, I recorded it on my phone. And then Corrie will be like, I'll get you, you little wretch. And then he'll attack her. And then she'll then they'll have Benny Hill music, and they'll run in and out of ginnels.
No.
And then the police will turn up and go, ooh, what's going on here? And Asha will hold the phone up, and it will be Corrie going, I kicked him to death and I'd do it again. If only there was another one of him to do it too. And then everyone will go,
no,
and then the police will say, well, we must let R. Kelly go then.
I've got a lot more faith in this story than you have. Thinking of a character name.
Yeah, I am. Imran. And
Imran.
And who? Toya will be like, oh, we had a story. Now you took it off us.
No, I think this is going to be a bit of a more of a long slow
and then
burn.
Toya will say,
I think that Asha could be a bit in danger here.
Toya will say, well, I've got nothing left in my life but to throw myself into my work.
Oh yeah, definitely. Whatever that is. No, I think this is fine. It's a shame that it kind of faltered. I mean, this was the big story for the past 2 weeks, and it felt like just a little bit of a dribble. I guess some of the main actors needed a bit of a break.
It just does feel like the whole thing's going to revolve around Asha getting him to tell her what he actually did, which feels a bit anticlimactic. I don't know.
No, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think that there is more to come.
I don't know that I really want another court case scene.
But we can call the storyline Corrie in Court. It kind of sounds similar. Okay, right. Sean, Gemma, what's we been up to this week?
Is it my go?
Yeah, it's your go. Telesales and marketing, over to you.
Oh, that's my speciality. Carol, homeless Carol, turns up at the street, runs into Sean. She says, I'm clean, I've had rehab, let's catch up later. So she goes to the Rovers, and Daisy says, oh, you should get her in on a bit of
double glammy in.
Yeah. And Carol's like, oh, that sounds great. And he's desperately trying to put her off. And she gets mad because she thinks he's patronising her and saying she can't do it. But actually what he is saying is it's all a big scam. But he can't say that in front of Daisy because he's still got her on the hook. So she gets mad. And then he tells Daisy later that he doesn't want Carol to get a load of stock that she can't sell because who's going to buy off of her. So on Wednesday, Carol meets up with Sean again, and she's still mad about it. And he says, look, I don't want you to do it because it's really hard work. Which is another, insulting thing to say to somebody. And she says, okay, fine, I'll be your friend, but you have to buy me a bacon sandwich. Which is what I've said to lots of people. It doesn't always work. Later on, she gets a phone call, and it's from the job centre. She has to leave.
I don't think it was. I think it was actually Daisy.
She said it's a job centre. So they're like, oh, it's nice to have a make-up chat. Double glammy.
I get it.
And she goes, and next time you see her, Daisy has signed her up to double glammy. And she's like, don't tell Sean, will you? All your details are in the contract. I'll print you off a copy later, babes. Don't worry about it. It's all going to be fine. So, here is Carol, another victim of this pyramid scheme that's not really a pyramid scheme, but it is a pyramid scheme.
Not a character that I was expecting to ever see again.
Also, not the one that springs to mind when you say, who shall we ensnare in a multi-level marketing campaign for makeup?
Yeah, I know. I bet that the actress who played her thought that a win all Christmases come at once when she gets the phone call from ITV a couple of months ago.
Anytime you're in a business...
I think that Henry should get ensnared by this MLM machine. He's dumb.
Would be great. Yeah, I mean, anytime your business model involves you trying desperately to flog stuff to your friends who are interested, it's a bad move. And I don't think, the best will in the world, Carol has a large number of friends who can afford to drop 40 quid on unisex.
No, I think most of her friends are
of the
poor
Sean
variety
ilk.
What's the Sean ilk?
I need money because I live in a house with a lady.
I don't think that Carol's friends live in houses.
I don't see why she hasn't made other friends.
I suppose it.
Sean's her friend, and he lives in a house.
Very true.
With a lady.
I'm kind of glad that we got to see Carol, because I think when we last saw her, she'd been beaten up by somebody in the street, and then she went to hospital, and then Sean just kind of said, "Oh, it's rubbish being on the street, isn't it? Can I come home with you, Billy?" And Carol never really got any closure, and I'm not really expecting much closure here.
No, I'm not
honest.
either. But doesn't this show this shows Sean up yet again for the big fraud that he was during the whole homelessness storyline, where...
How so?
You remember that the Pulp song "Common People," where there's a line like, "If you called your dad, he can make it stop." This is exactly what Sean was like during the homeless thing. He just had to say, "I don't want to be homeless anymore," and it's like magic. Like a fairy godmother came out and went, "Oh yeah, sorry, here's your house." And here you've got Carol. Carol's
had to work for this for 2-3 years.
Carol's been through rehab. She's trying to turn her life around. Like you say, it's taken her years. And you've got Sean here renting luxury cars and crying about how his son's mum is rich, and that's
wearing
the
his
biggest,
peacock
honestly,
t-shirts.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem that he's got in his life, is that his son's mum shows him up. You know, what a contrast.
Don't care about that story, but please can it end soon. Rutting ties. Also, I've put the stuff with Steve on doing the cycling in here for no particular reason other than Emma was in it.
When we saw this scene with Steve falling around all over the place, I said, women on Coronation Street cannot cook and men on Coronation Street cannot exercise. And that seems to be the big joke.
Craig's doing quite well.
Have you seen him exercising recently?
No, I haven't voted. Yeah, I could actually just call this storyline the Weatherfield bike, because that would cover both Alina and what Steve was riding on.
I've used Weatherfield bike before for people.
So Tyra and Alina are looking for somewhere to live on Wednesday. She's desperate to get on the property ladder. She really wants a mortgage.
I know, how old is she? She's like
22, 23 maybe.
You should be so lucky, love.
I know. Anyway, she says, "Oh, I don't want to move. Moving out of the flat's difficult because it's got all the memories of Seb here, but I think we probably."
But you know what
should.
would help me if I had my own house.
He comes back to work later because he's been bonking Alina in the shower,
and
or
he's
something.
really gross about it to Kevin, and Kevin's like, "Oh,
that's just what us men are like."
I don't think he's that interested.
And Uncle Ronnie comes in and goes, "Oh yeah, well guess what I've been doing." He moans, Tyrone...
Debbie's there.
Moans about the state of the flat to Debbie, and who says, I'm just going to throw Alina out. I can't be bothered to fix things for you, so I'm going to throw Alina out and just sell it up.
I thought this was hilarious, because he's like, you call it shower, the boiler's just like a kettle on the wall, blah, blah, blah. And Debbie's like, well, if you don't like it, move out, and I'll sell it. And he's like, oh no!
But then she offers him first refusal later.
To buy it.
And Tyrone asks Kevin to lend him some deposit help. £8,000 will do the trick. And Kevin says he will think about it.
Because he reckons it'll sell for 75 grand. Tyrone, listen very carefully. I will say this only once. Do not buy a leasehold property.
No, it's not worth it.
Don't buy it.
Leasehold, no.
Right.
You thought about the other fees involved as well, Tyrone?
Yeah, I mean, you know you need a new boiler. If you can't afford £8 grand for a deposit, what are you going to do when you need a new boiler? Because a new boiler is going to be about 6 to 7 grand.
Yeah, and you got to get in quick if you want to avoid the stamp duty as well. It's probably a bit too late for that.
You're not going to be paying stamp duty on 75, especially if it's your first... I don't know, if he puts it in Alina's name, he can get it on first-time buyers. But is she a British national? I don't think so. So I think you have to fill out a different form.
And
I think you do have to pay stamp duty.
So today, Tyrone and Alina are talking about getting this twee family photo session, which he doesn't like the idea of, but goes along with because he loves Alina so much.
Into all the stereotypes of Eastern Europeans having decor ideas like from 1975.
That's an Eastern European stereotype, is it?
Everything's like from decades ago, because it's only just got there. And I know that's a stereotype, but she's like really, like, ooh. She's bad at interior decorating.
She's getting very excited about the fact of having a family and stealing this Tyrone off of Fizz.
Yeah, but she's excited about setting up a home, and it really is a stark contrast between Tyrone and Alina, because she is young and excited.
He's done it all before.
This is not his first rodeo, and he also doesn't care about decor and photos.
He just shoves up having anything on the wall. Keep Jack and Vera's stuff. Put a few new kids' pictures. As long as he can have a shag,
several times a day. It seems like he doesn't care what's on the walls.
And Emma hadn't heard about the fact that they were potentially going to be buying this place. She doesn't seem very happy about it, particularly the whole thing about Tyrone being her landlord. She doesn't like.
And Alina's like, "Oh, don't worry. You can still live here, and at least you'll like your landlady." And she spends the whole episode going.
I know. Then Emma goes over to tell Amy about this, and this is when the other side story about Steve going cycling crops up. And they have this little skit about the fact that Steve's been using Amy's razor to shave his legs to make himself more aerodynamic.
And I think they make a joke about
funny.
Tracy having like a wire wool muff.
Did they?
I'm pretty sure that gets mentioned.
I quite like that.
You quite like that?
No, I quite like that little scene. I know it was stupid, but I find that quite amusing.
I didn't know he was cycling. I thought he was hiking.
So did I. But all that happens really there
Tell
is
you what
he goes
he
off.
Is, Michael. He's a charity slag. He'll do anything.
He goes off and he does his cycling, and he comes back, and it looks like he's been dragged through a head backwards. There did
seem to be some kind of thing that happened, because was it Amy says, "Do you remember what the bib number of the man you pushed off the bike was?" Which makes me think that he was in an accident. And
no, he said that he drove into a pothole. You missed that because you weren't paying attention.
I thought she said something about you knocked somebody off their bike. Do you remember what his bib number was? And that didn't come up again. So, like, what's going to happen on Monday? Is Craig going to come around and say, "Oh, there was a murder at the charity cycle run and everyone said it was you"?
I don't know. But anyway, Steve gets a bit maudlin at the end of the episode. And it's like, "Oh, all these people doing stuff for charity. It's so sad and
pointless.
Pointless. And, well, still haven't cured cancer yet."
I know, all this... think about how many times we've done a 5k run for breast cancer.
Yeah, and he wants to give up his... no, Emma thinks that he should give up on his charitying, doesn't he? But he says no. Anyway, that's the side story that isn't really related at all to the Tyrone and Alina storyline. But it doesn't go anywhere. It's just about... Tyrone gets told from Kevin that he can't get the money.
Kevin says, "I can't lend you the money," but he doesn't add in the obvious thing. He does say, "My wife-to-be's not working," because last time I saw her, she was trying to hammer her way through a bonnet.
What happened to that? She was attacking a car bonnet with a hammer or a spanner or something. 2 weeks ago?
Tell you what, if it was us, we'd turn up and look at the car covered in hammer marks and go,
"I'm sorry, it was probably like that before we got there.
Thank you for helping us." By then, we were very non-confrontational.
We trust your judgment, yeah.
He says that, but he also just didn't follow up with, "Also, we had to pay for a wedding we didn't have, and we're also probably going to have a wedding in the future that we need to save up for, and also, funerals don't grow on trees."
No, I think he mentioned some of that. I can't remember. It was a bit boring, so I wasn't paying attention.
The cheek of a man to come to a guy whose future wife's son's just died, begging for money so he can shack up with his girlfriend in a flat that's got a kettle for a boiler.
Oh my gosh, this is dull. We have a bit of another confrontation scene between Fizz and Tyrone after she finds out about it. She's like, when were you going to tell me?
Moving into the house.
Moving into this house. And he's like, "It's nothing to do with you, actually." And she's like, "No, it's exactly everything to do with me. You don't seem to realise that just because you've left me, it doesn't mean that your affairs don't have anything to do with me anymore, because we still have these kids together." And he's left sort of seething a little bit. But I think Fizz, obviously, we're Team Fizz. She is in the right there. And then Tyrone tells Alina about Fizz having a go at him, so Alina is spurred on to make that flat even more of a home for themselves by putting these random Generation Z words all over the board.
YOLO. I don't think YOLO is...
No, LOL's too old.
YOLO is like our thing.
YOLO is our thing? I don't think it is. I'd heard of it. It had been going for a long time before I knew what that meant.
Rolo
is my thing. You know, the chocolate.
Oh, God, Michael, you granddad.
If I was a granddad, it'd be Words Original.
I thought, your notes just say who cares here. I honestly thought Alina was going to start questioning Tyrone about the house. And surely it's only a matter of time before she starts saying to him, "Oh, Tyrone, why do they live in the house that is yours when you could sell it and we could have our own place?" Because honestly, is that not logical? If he wants a deposit, he's got a whole house that belongs to him. If that grotty flat's going for 75k, that house is going to be double that easily.
Yeah. And
so that's enough to buy themselves a house.
The revenue, yeah.
Or charge her rent for it.
Yeah. I bet she would, Alina, make
her Alina is a madam.
He is kind of in every right to do that, but...
Well, I know that there have been a lot of people online who say, "Oh, you know, well, it's his house. I don't know why Fizz thinks that she's got the right to live there." And I found that really disgusting, because the amount of work and emotional labour and time and effort and support that she's put her wages into fixing the place up as well. I don't think that anyone has the right to say that she shouldn't live there. The whole thing's a mess. This is why...
Don't have affairs.
You shouldn't have affairs.
Basically. Finally, Gemma, do you want to do your mountain out of a troll hill? What's been going on with the Golden Girls at number 6?
Cathy is making a nuisance of herself. She is... I watched this with a guilty conscience because I'm Cathy. If I was in
Yeah, you're Cathy in this situation, lounging around on the sofa in your pyjamas, ordering things.
The working class-esque, loudmouth slob who's just lolling around in her pyjamas. And I'm only saying that in comparison to Yasmin and Elaine, who are definitely middle-class ladies, aren't they?
Yes.
With their trim little bobs and their, you know, like, "Oh, I keep my figure svelte." And
well, you know, Cathy had quite a nice house when she first came into it, and she was into, like, art exhibits and everything, wasn't she?
Cathy's more, to me, like a boho kind of working-class art teacher type person. Whereas Yasmin and Elaine are like...
Yasmin's a librarian.
"Where's my silver spoon for my caviar?" You know? Although you don't eat caviar with silver, you eat it with a...
I use
what's
a
that little
spoon for my caviar.
Tortoiseshell spoon.
Cathy is also a little bit like you, because every so often you'll buy random exercise equipment.
And go, "I'm going to change my life. I'm going to
use this every day.
I'll put it under the bed and forget it's there." And also, "I'm going to save these pizza boxes for a reason I will explain in a month's time when I tell you to throw them away." Just this kind of like fat slob living with a bunch of skinny people.
Lots of scenes of them getting, of Cathy getting on their wicks.
Just lazing around, being annoying. Yes, and also inexplicably not living with her boyfriend.
It's been going on for ridiculously
amount. We still haven't had an explanation as to why she won't live.
It's because of the troll thing.
But it's not real, is it? That's a lie. It doesn't make any sense.
This is a real victim of the what's it called, block filming. This should have been over a long time ago.
Yasmin goes to the cabin and asks. I'm starting to get a sore throat. Asks Brian, "Has there been any more trolling? Like, you know, like, what's the weather been like?" And he's like, "No, nobody's threatened my life or vandalised the place, thankfully. Maybe Cathy can come home soon." And Yasmin says,
"Maybe even the trolls have got bored of the storyline now. Didn't take the viewers long, but the trolls have still had a bit of passion for it for a little while."
Well, there's been a murder. You'd think they'd be trolling Kelly now."
Yeah.
So he tries to ring Cathy and she ignores him. And then Yasmin comes home and Cathy's like, "I've cooked us a tagine."
She did call it a tagine, didn't she?
Yeah. And she even had a proper tagine, which I think Yasmin has had for years, which is the same one that your mum bought me.
It is?
Yeah, which is actually in the shed.
I don't like tagines, really.
That's because they have apricots in them.
I'm not a fan of Moroccan food. It's Moroccan.
How dare you?
I just don't really like it.
I remember when tagines were all the rage, and me and your mum were like,
"I know.
Have you had this? Have you tried this tagine recipe? It's pork and apricot. Have you tried this one? It's lamb and apricot." Have you tried this couscous? It's got parsley. Or this one has coriander.
I'm glad that fad didn't last.
It really was like a massive fad in this country for like, I don't know, 3 months.
Yeah.
And everyone was buying tagines off Lakeland. Anyway, she's chuffed, wonders when Cathy's leaving because the trolling stopped, and Cathy says, I just feel really safe here and I've bought myself an exercise bike so I can't leave.
That's it.
That's it.
Did you say the bit about Brian trying to phone Cathy and she ignores him? Okay. Anyway, that's that, and that is indeed it for this week's Coronation Street.
That's that, and that's it.
I thought that with my ranting, this episode might go on a bit longer, but I mean, this is relatively on the short side. What are
you going to give it, Michael?
I don't know.
Because you were told
I really quite enjoyed chatting about this.
The courage of your convictions and give it a 1.
I was challenged to give it a score in the ones. It wasn't a 1. It was not a 1. Audrey was kind of funny.
I know, but
Sharon
I'm worried
with the
about
game
her
console was so bad it was good. Asher and Nina, no problem with that story apart from the fact that it wasn't a headline anymore, which it totally should have been.
I didn't like. I mean, like I said, I didn't watch the stuff that I found boring.
Today's wasn't so awful.
I just had it on in the background a lot of the time this week. It was not very interesting, and some of it was infuriating, and some of it was baffling.
I was just. It feels like
it felt
Johnny. It feels like Jenny and Ronnie, getting it on in the Rovers deserves to knock, at least 2 points off of it because
I don't feel the same way about. I don't feel quite as angry about that because I've kind of let it go. I don't know why. I don't know why. There's no
like
logical
the worst
reason.
Thing to happen to me.
I know you're really mad about it.
It's ruined my life.
Oh God.
I'm so... Oh, my... No, I can't bring it up again. I think I made my stance quite clear on this earlier in the episode.
Yeah, so really, I think it felt very amateur this week. A lot of the stuff just felt stupid. And the things that weren't stupid were dull or illogical.
Right. Okay, I'm going 1.5. I'm going 1.5. It is my lowest. Have I ever even given it a 2 before? I'm just so mad at Jenny and Ronnie and the potential that has got to split up one of my favourite couples and everything. The Sharon stuff.
I think that's what you're really upset about, isn't it? Because I think what you see in the future is Ronnie living at the Rovers. Well, I don't know.
It feels like they're going to get back together again.
Who?
Jenny and Ronnie, with him and even though she's saying no, I don't want anything to do with you again. With him being there, I think that she could be tempted, especially as she was about to go for round 2 just before Johnny came back.
Daisy is also very Machiavellian, and I think she might engineer some kind of conflict between Jenny and Johnny.
Yeah, absolutely.
To try to drive them apart and make Jenny go into Ronnie's arms.
Yeah, I think so. Oh my God, just thinking about it.
Yeah, I think that
makes me so mad.
I don't think it's so... Because really, if this storyline ended here where it is now, with Jenny just going, sorry, it's behind me now, it was a blip, you wouldn't be mad about it. But the fact that you know there's this looming possibility that it will be...
what it means for Ronnie, the future of the show.
Ronnie, like the landlord of the Rovers.
Don't! Oh, no! Coronation Street would totally do that as well.
I think...
Coronation Street's first black landlord.
Yes, I know you don't like the idea, but I honestly think that having a black landlord of the Rovers would be great. And I like Ronnie. I don't know why you hate him.
Because...
And also...
He's a slime ball.
Stealthy southerner, that's right. Get this southerner behind the bar.
Oh, that went so well when Michelle Collins was
a fake.
It was a fake, yeah, you're right.
She had a very good northern accent, Michael.
What about when the Rovers was owned by Fred and Dougie and Mike, and Mike was the southerner in charge of the Rovers.
Hooray! Colonise the north.
No, I think Coronation Street would probably... I mean, you know how much they said, look at us, we've got a black family for the first time ever. It's 2018, we finally caught up.
Hooray.
I think They might do, mightn't they? Oh, I don't know.
I think.
I'm just so sad for John. And I'm wondering, like, is Johnny going to leave because he's been so underused?
I know. This is what I think.
Really, really feels like this is the end of Johnny, and I don't like that
Johnny
at all.
Get together. This is the end of Johnny on the show because where he has no family left. The only person he's got left is Carla, and I don't like. She moved into the flat above.
I don't even know who knows where Carla and Peter are living at the moment.
Taxi.
Maybe.
That's
right. Yeah, Liz and Steve's.
We haven't seen them move in there yet, but she's the last sort of link he has to the street, and she's obviously having an experience at the moment.
If he finds out, which he will,
boyfriend being on the husband, being on the transplant list.
If he finds out about it, which he will, then he's. I mean, the thing is, he could
play tit for tat
because he's done it. But I can't imagine him wanting to stay in Weatherfield if Jenny and Ronnie are having a relationship.
No way.
Oh man.
So you still want to give it 1.5? You don't give it a 1?
No.
Why? What could have made it a 1? What makes it not a 1?
If today's episode had been worse, like today's episode was just bog standard, it was okay.
A very average episode.
It was okay. If it had been more boring, if there'd been more Sean in it, the Sean storyline that could have brought it down. If it didn't have a few high moments of Audrey and whatever, and Dev was kind of funny. And I'm sorry, I know a lot of people don't like him, but I still find him quite amusing this week.
I'm really mad about the scene with Sharon and Dev because I feel like that had potential to be a really great scene, and I can't explain why it wasn't.
I feel bad for Dev because he's like, he used to be a real ladies' man, doesn't he? And he's like, he's not anymore,
Sharon's
and he thinks that he's still got it.
He does. He's still got it
because he did definitely used to have it, didn't he?
But where did it go?
I can't wait until Uncle Ronnie is in the used to have it camp. Although I don't want him to be in this show.
Ronnie done nothing wrong to you.
He has done a lot wrong to me this week, Gemma. I'm giving this week's episode 1.5 interactive models of the world that show the ebb and flow of borders over the past 20 years out of 5. My character of the week this week, I hadn't thought actually. I'm going to have to say it was Johnny, God, I'm as bad as Audrey now. Sam.
I don't know what to give it myself.
I'm going Sam because I like Sam with his stuff on Monday with Audrey, and I thought it was quite cute when he got kidnapped. Sam is my character of the week.
Oh, we love it when a child gets kidnapped. It's so adorable.
Who are you giving it to?
Character of the week?
Yeah, you do.
I don't
know. Give it to bloody Uncle Ronnie, otherwise we're going to be heading for those divorce courts, I'll tell you.
I'm going to... in the spirit of being consistent, I will give it to Pedo Van Man, number 2.
That means that he's put Pedo Van Man, even though it's not the same Pedo Van Man.
It's a different man.
It's okay, so we can't. So when in Rebecca's list, just so we know,
it's got to be Pedo Van Man 2,
and this is Pedo Van Man 2. Yeah. He's got 1 mark.
Otherwise, he's like Pedo Van Man would then have more points than I don't know.
I think that this guy should be called
all of the Baileys.
No, this guy should be called Pedo Beardo Van Man because he had a jolly good bush of hair firm. So Pedo Beardo Van Man.
He's been working hard during lockdown.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he?
With that magnificent bushy beard.
What are you scoring it, Gemma? I will let you score whatever you want.
Oh, thank you.
Don't let my score influence yours.
You know what, ladies? If you're worried about getting married, don't, because my man lets me do what I like. I don't know, because I think 1.5's generous. But I didn't hate it as much as you did. That's the thing. I don't have a problem with the Jenny and Johnny stuff because it winds you up so much and it's just funny. And this isn't this just like the tragedy of humankind that I find delight in your misery?
We watched. Do you remember that video that I made? Everybody, that music video of Vote with Sally Ann Matthews at the National TV Awards. I don't know why, but we watched that again the other day, and it had the little scene with Johnny and Jenny getting married in the hospital at Rita's bedside. It was like, that was so lovely. Oh, I love Jenny and Johnny's wedding.
What does Rita think
Look
of
what has
Ronnie?
happened. Look what's happened. Tell you what, both Sharon and Jenny need a listen lady chat from Rita at the moment, don't they? And I'm still wondering whether Jenny's going to have anything to do with Sharon's downfall as well, because she was suspicious of her, but she's had these other things to worry about recently. But could that redeem Jenny if she's the one that finds Sharon out? I don't know. Come on, you got a score. You're not going to give it a 1, are you? Did you enjoy the little bits that I enjoyed as well? I don't know why
you didn't give it a 1 yourself, because it's a 0, not a score.
Yeah, you can give it a 0. You can give it a 0 or a half or.
So it's like you're giving it 0, half, 1. You're giving it 4 marks off of being the worst of the worst.
Yeah, because I like Coronation Street. If it was,
Yeah, but you're scoring it on a scale of Coronation Street.
If it was the side adventures of Peter Van Man, all week.
But the whole thing intrinsically is Coronation Street built into the score. You're scoring Coronation Street against itself. Like if this was like score this week's episode of Coronation Street versus the best, like the Red Wedding episode of Game of Thrones, every week, I'm sorry, it would probably get like a 3 compared to that, because that was probably the best episode of television I've ever watched in my life. Do you see my logic here?
Yeah, I do. I just think that it could have been worse. It could have been worse.
It always could have been worse. What's the worst thing that could happen?
Well, just if it was in all characters that I didn't like, no humour, wall-to-wall tropes and cliches.
I think it was pretty bad. Today's episode, I was so shocked at how often Johnny was like, what was it? It was very cliched and silly. I think it deserves a 1, but I didn't have that much of a problem as you did.
You're giving it 1 for boredom reasons. I'm giving it a 1 for a bit of boredom.
Yeah, you're giving it a 1.5.
1.5, sorry, yeah, for a bit of boredom and a bit of. Anyway, we can't spend 5 minutes discussing our scores. You give it 1 if you want to.
I think you should have given it a 1, and I should give it a 1.5.
Right, between us, it gets 2.5 out of 10.
Okay. That seems high.
Divvy it up. What are you scoring it out of, Gemma?
I am gonna give it a 1. 1 rhyming shag partners.
Oh, Johnny and Ronnie. Mm-hmm, nice. Okay, well there we go.
But I'm not happy with giving it a 1 because it didn't deserve it. I don't think it deserved 1, but you should have given it a 1. That's my final stance.
Okay, fine. Well,
because I don't take this scoring thing quite as seriously as I think that you do.
It's scientific.
And the character of the week also, as you might guess.